California, Newsom sends Congress $40 billion request for LA fire aid. Okay, so hey, Congress, we need $40 billion. Congress then comes and gets the money from who? Taxpayers. So that means you're really fixing the problem of his lack of leadership. They're coming to collect money. So Newsom requests for $40 billion in federal aid, describing it as the most expensive disaster in U.S. history after hurricane-force winds destroyed over 16,000 structures in Pacific Palisades and Altadena, addressing congressional leaders, including Speaker Mike Johnson, Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries. Make no mistakes, L.A. will use this money wisely. Do you believe that? Who believes that? Let me read that one more time. How he opens it up. Make no mistake, Los Angeles will use this money wisely. Who is the head of Los Angeles? Who is the head of the state? We have to trust that he's going to use the money wisely. Of course, he used the $24 billion to fix homelessness in California very wisely. We know where that went.
They solved
and he eliminated all of it, right? I mean, homelessness didn't just double or triple.
It's
so
eliminated.
To assist individuals, businesses, and property owners, he stressed California's economic importance, calling it the tentpole of the American economy and stating California's success is America's success. The request faces Republican opposition with Donald Trump and allies pushing for conditions on the aid as part of a broader Washington debate. Newsom, who previously traveled to Washington to appeal directly to Trump, acknowledged the administration's past support, writing, Trump and his administration have demonstrated a strong commitment to LA's recovery, et cetera, et cetera. And meanwhile, two other stories I'll add to this. I'm not going to read it. LA Chief Fire Department fired. And on top of that, more than a quarter of LA Palisades borrowers are at risk of delinquency. Brandon, what are your thoughts on this story?
Yeah, so I do not think for 1 second that we should give them any money, especially not giving it to them to handle themselves. Like between the homelessness and then the high-speed railway, it was supposed to cost $33 billion at the beginning. It's like in phase one still, and it's already up to 120-something billion, and they barely even cleared.
You're saying don't even give any money, even if there's somebody that holds them accountable?
If they're handling it, don't give it to them. I think that the federal government should be managing the way that they spend it, and not like have maybe a project manager that's working for the federal government.
Who would you trust on Trump's team to manage it beginning to end that Newsom has to report to?
Anybody that did any of his projects, because he's like a professional at that, at making sure things get done on time in a cheap way. But California is like the equivalent of Ukraine. It's like a black hole for money. Any money that we've ever sent to California just disappeared. The thing that was supposed to fix has gotten worse after we gave them the money. So, and in addition to that, like it's a place that's being held captive right now by a supermajority. So Trump originally said that he was going to give it to them if they did some simple things like requiring voting ID. So I would like him to see him do that too, because he has some leverage here.
So this is a good chance for Trump to use that to get things changed in the state of California.
Yeah, absolutely.
How far you think he can go? You think he can go as far as trying to get the state to flip? And if yes, how would he cause the state to flip? What could Trump do to cause the state to flip?
I think if you just required voting ID, something simple like that, the state might be a red state. Like we have no idea what the actual voting demographics of California are because of the way they do things. Like
that is such a good point.
It's the most chaotic voting place I've ever seen. Plus the supermajority.
So let's negotiate that. Mm-hmm. So you're Trump, I'm Newsom. I come to you, hey, we need $40 billion. What do you tell me?
Okay, you need voting ID requirements.
I'm not going to do it. You can't make me do that. These people need help.
Then we can't do anything.
So you're going to let these people go without getting any help? These people are suffering.
You're letting them do it. I'm just asking you to do a simple thing.
But I don't have $40 billion. I need your $40 billion.
You have the ability to require voting IDs.
These are two different issues. We can talk about that on a different setting, but these people need the help right now.
The position of the federal government is that if you do not require voting IDs, we will not give you $40 billion.
What do you think is the likelihood that happens? What do you think is the likelihood that happens, Amy?
I don't think it's very likely that would occur. I think it should. I think that this is an incredible opportunity to create incentive for California to really right a lot of the wrongs that they've had. If Trump can leverage it to that end, that would be amazing. However, I think the Democrats are going to hold on to anything they can to be able to maintain the advantage that has probably won them the previous election and is the only reason in any sense of the word it was remotely close, or at least portrayed close in media, is because of the mass overrepresentation of illegals that they were probably bringing in to keep Democrats in power.
Yeah, Vinny.
I don't give them. Listen, it's at the point where we have to just, and I'm with Brandon. We have to say Absolutely not. And he could cry and he could do whatever he wants because this is him doing the no voter ID is basically saying we don't give a damn who's here. We just want to keep our power. And you know who's now making her rounds? I showed up yesterday in Palisades and she's doing her word salad speech. Kamala Harris, guys. Because if he's going to
Modern day
leave.
Tony Robbins, if you got the clip, pull it up.
Because if you think about it, guys, he's probably going to be out really, really soon because people are fed up with him. And guess who's going to come in? Kamala Harris. So that's going to land on the voters, the people of California. It's up to them. Because if they don't do it, I told Brandon yesterday, I'm done with you, Pat. I'm done with you guys. If you keep voting for this, and then afterwards disaster strikes, and you guys keep crying.
So you guys are zero money until there's accountability.
Absolutely, because by you saying this, Governor Newsom,
I'll role play.
Okay, we've got role play. You on your own. You're saying no voter ID, meaning two people that went to go vote that I know.
Mr. President, you're combining two separate issues.
No, but what I'm saying is the bigger problem. What you're doing is literally telling people illegals to come, which in turn makes people
These
drugs.
people are suffering. These people don't have a place. These people need help. These people need money to fix these things.
And what about the people that are suffering with fentanyl? 250,000 people dead a year.
Those are two separate issues. We're trying to address this issue now. You are taking your time. They're suffering. The people of California need your help, Mr. President.
And guess what? The people of California will be on my side knowing that you need voter ID.
You think so?
1,000%.
Okay, so let me tell you. This is a very important point you're making. The backbone of California voters. Because, folks, just so you know, the moves they're making is for him to get out and for her to get in. Rob, play the clip here. Watch this clip here. Tell me if you want this person as your governor. Go back and see if this is a person. Yep. This is Fires. She's over there now. See if you want this person as your governor. Go ahead, Rob.
What goes through your mind when you see this? You're here. You're now seeing it up close.
It's not only seeing it, Alex, you can smell it. You can feel it, right? So it's seeing it with our eyes, and many people have seen it. You all are covering it. But to literally be on the ground here, you can smell the smoke that was here. You can feel the toxicity, frankly, of the environment. You can feel the energy of all of the folks who are still here on the ground.
Goes through your mind.
Think about this. She's been on vacation, probably drinking, and they're like, "Hey, Kamala, it's time." And she's like, "I'm just gonna do this, and that's the future. And if you guys vote for her, that's where it comes back. I have zero remorse."
You were in California yesterday.
I was in California. You should see. Yes, I was in California.
Torlock with a bunch of Assyrians.
Assyrians, which
Any
was
beautiful
amazing.
girls, future wives, possibly?
Hold on, two things I have to say.
Tell me the quality of the girls, the ladies Assyrian. Because, guys, I'm looking for somebody for Vinny.
Hold on. The show,
0 to 10.
Amazing. The 8s and 9s.
Really?
Oh, but you know what? Laugh. My mom is literally a pimp. She's like, the receptionist is Assyrian. She's like, please. I want a kid before I die. So I'm like, Mom, this is like you're being a pimp live. The show was amazing. Shout out to everybody for Sweeney and Sherrill. But the quality of California, the homeless,
What were they saying politically about California? Where are they at? Like some of the guys that maybe supported Newsom.
Great point. I'm in the lobby and I'm with my whole family.
Yeah.
There's like 10 of us. And all of a sudden a whole table's like, oh, PBD, a Latino group with kids. You know, they were there for like their kids' baseball tournament. And he goes, man, if you don't like what you guys are saying about this effing Newsom, he's like, we live by that railway. That's
Hispanic family.
Hispanic family shitting on him and saying they don't give us any other options to vote. So if and that's why I respect them. But for anybody else that keeps voting for them because you have to be true to your party, I have zero remorse because you're voting for it. You want it, that's what you get.
Adam.
She's coming.
So California is going to get whatever they deserve. In essence, what you have to do is ask if you're going to send them this money, what percentage was it a natural disaster versus what percentage was it just complete government incompetence? I'm never going to be the 0 or 100 guy. Zero money ever again, 100%. Or yes, just keep throwing money at Ukraine, keep throwing money at California. I'm never going to be in that camp, isolationist, extremist. It doesn't work for me. But there does need to be accountability, and we got to figure out what percentage was just complete government incompetence. I don't know how you can figure out that number. I'm sure you can get Doge on the scene. What I do know is this. You're talking about people in California, whether they're going to vote Republican or not. We remember what happened in the recall with Gavin Newsom. It would have been in 2021, 2022, whatever year that was. They thought Larry Elder was going to beat him. Blowout. Okay, this is going to shock you a little bit, but I actually have a couple liberal friends in California. and I'm on a group text message with all these guys. And one of them is he's a known guy. He's in the Hollywood
Westwood,
world.
yeah.
And I'm like, listen, guys, what the hell's what?
Go.
Keep going.
Pat, are you going to interrupt me?
No, keep going. I'm just saying where your friends are from.
Pat,
Keep going.
what's your point, Pat?
I'm waiting for it.
The point is,
still.
I'm basically saying, dude, what's going on there? What percentages was just incompetence, DEI, just completely unqualified for your job? He's like, how dare you even ask that right now? How dare you even assume that? I go, I mean, it's your city's on fire. You literally lost your home. You don't have any additional questions. Just want to ride with the government.
Yeah.
I said, we're going back and forth. They're going back and forth. I go, let me ask you just one question. When's the last time that you voted for any non-Democrat, Republican, Independent? He's like, why do you want to know that? Well, it's a simple question. It's like, why? What does it matter? I go, I just answer the question. And then, ready? I would never vote for a Republican in my life. I swear to God, they're the worst. Can't believe. I go, exactly.
Don't feel bad for you then.
So whatever you got, you got.
Rob, who is this? Is it the chief getting fired?
This is Karen Bass. Yes, the mayor of Los Angeles, talking about how the buck stops with her at the firing of Kristen Crowley, the LA fire chief. But just a week earlier, she then also blames Kristen Crowley.
Let's
It's
see.
a good.
As the mayor of the city, the buck stops with me. I am in charge. However, the person in charge of the fire department, as I mentioned before, whenever there was a fire emergency, a weather emergency, or a hint of a problem, I am contacted directly, and not just by Chief Crowley, but by any of the heads of the departments. As you know, we have over 40 departments. When I talked about it with the fire chief, what she said is that we have warnings of Santa Ana winds a lot, but predicting this, and you saw, from the city, from the county, that level of preparation really didn't happen. So it didn't reach that level to me to say something terrible could happen and maybe you shouldn't have gone on the trip.
Why? What does this mean, Rob? So 1 minute, the buck stops with me. Second minute, she's blaming her.
Yeah, and you can't accept responsibility, and then as you're accepting responsibility, say the buck stops with me. However, you're immediately then directing blame back to the other person.
Right, and she fired her.
She did.
Okay.
But remember, though, this happened like weeks ago. Remember, it was a couple days after the fire happened, and the chief spoke out against the mayor saying, like, hey, what are we supposed to do if the water's not in the hydrants? Then, like, minutes after that, articles came out that she got fired, and then they kind of pulled back on it a little bit. So this decision seems like it was made weeks ago.
This morning, I'm reading an article from 2017, Kellogg, okay? Kellogg School. Kellogg is known as one of the best marketing schools out there. Rob, if you can go to the story here. If you can just go to the story, click on the link below. Watch
That's at
this
Northwestern,
one here.
is it not?
It's a very, very, very respectful school. Sitting near a high performer can make you better at your job. It's called a spillover from certain coworkers can boost our productivity or jeopardize our employment. What are they saying? Go a little bit lower to read this a little closer. The people we sit near at work inevitably impact our day. They may brighten our mood or drive us crazy. So for me, like I have a problem here, right? 25. What's more, our work neighbors can actually change how we do at our jobs. Researchers looked at the 25-foot radius around high performers at a large technology firm and found that these workers boosted performers in coworkers by 15%. That spillover, positive spillover, translated into an estimated $1 million in additional annual profits, according to new research from Dylan Miner, an assistant professor at managerial economics and decision sciences at Kellogg. Now watch this here, how this continues. So 25 feet radius, 15% positive, okay? Watch the opposite. The flip side is that bad eggs impact their neighbors too. Negative spillovers from so-called toxic coworkers is even more pronounced, sometimes having twice the magnitude of impact on profits as positive spillover. Yet, while this toxic spillover happens very quickly, it also dissipates almost immediately once that worker is either fired or relegated to the far physical reaches of the company. You can stop with the story here. What is this story about? If you think about a lady this morning, Crystal, who her and I Minnect a lot, she Minnected me today to speak to her son, 13-year-old son. I've met him before. So I sent him a message this morning on the drive here talking to him about what it is to be 13 years old. Yeah, I've been talking to my boys right now about a book I'm reading called Aggressive Girls and Clueless Boys. Every father with boys has to read this book because nowadays girls are approaching guys about sex and flirting versus it used to be the other way around. We had to. Today, girls are the ones that are more aggressive. If you have a son, do whatever you can. Don't look at the ratings. Just go read this book. It's 80 pages. You must read this book. Every parent, it's very necessary for you to read this book. It's 136 pages. So I'm talking to this kid about one of the most basic things you can do in life at early ages to win is choose your friends wisely. Later on in your career, one of the best things you can do in your life is choose your bosses, the company you work with, and your coworkers wisely. You do, you'll grow. You'll do better. You don't, you'll hate the company. You'll hate your boss. You'll be angry at everybody. You'll be walking on eggshells like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And you're thinking it's you, it's somebody else. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people in life are crap magnets. There are people that purely are crap magnets. They cannot help themselves but constantly attract negativity and problems in your life. You got to do whatever you can to avoid those folks. But if you can simply decide to attract better people in your life can improve in every possible way. Many years ago, I wanted to learn how to be a better networker. There was a guy I would work a room with, and I would watch this guy. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's a great networker. I'd never seen a networker like this before. This guy was a former hairstylist for Diana Ross and Michael Jackson, and he would go into a room, and it was like, boom, he went from this guy to that guy to this guy to this guy to that guy, and then all of a sudden we're in the office of the CEO's room. I'm like, how the hell did this guy do it? Couldn't believe how the guy would network. What's the moral of the story? Networking has changed. There's been an evolution to networking. But for us, I took many of those things I learned many years ago, and I applied it in business, in raising money, in getting in rooms, and getting guests on the podcast, and recruiting folks who became presidents of the company, CTOs, technology investors, raising money. But the ability to network is so critical today because there's an element of networking that's also networking and finding your peer group, your friends. There's 8 mistakes people make when it comes down to networking. Next Tuesday at 3 p.m., Tuesday, March 4th at 3 p.m., I'm going to give you a PDF of the 8 mistakes people make on networking. On this webinar that I'm hosting, you can go to vtwebinar.com to register. Again, vtwebinar.com to register. You're going to get those 8 mistakes. Trust me, you want to know what these 8 mistakes are because it's do's and don'ts that we'll cover on that podcast and that on that Zoom. It's a 1-hour Zoom, free for everybody. And I'll share the evolution of networking tools. And also on that webinar, I'm going to give you 3 updates. Massive, massive new features on Minnect that I'm so excited about, and an opportunity for some of you guys to come and join us at Kentucky Derby. So go to VT Webinar, register for it, and I look forward to seeing you there next Tuesday, the 4th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Registered. We'll see you there. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.